The Harrison building stood like a crown jewel in the financial district, its glass and steel stretching 50 stories into the sky. My family's law firm, Harrison and Associates, occupied the top 5 floors, a testament to their self-proclaimed importance. I walked through the revolving doors in my usual attire, a simple black suit, no flashy brands. The security guard at the desk, Marco, gave me a warm smile. "Good morning, Miss Chen," he said quietly, careful not to let others hear him use my real name. Over the past year, as I quietly bought the building through my shell corporation, he'd become one of my most trusted allies. "Morning, Marco. Everything set for tomorrow?" He nodded discreetly. "All systems ready for the ownership transition." I headed toward the main elevator bank, but a sharp voice cut through the marble lobby. "Alexandra, what are you doing?" My sister Miranda clicked across the floor in her Louboutins, perfectly manicured hand gesturing toward the service entrance. "You know the rules. Support staff uses the back door." I glanced down at my building access badge, deliberately mislabeled as IT support at my request. "Right. My mistake." "Honestly," she sighed, adjusting her Hermes scarf, "it's like you want to embarrass us. Dad gave you this job as a favor, remember? A favor that meant working as their low-level IT manager while I orchestrated my real business empire. If they'd bothered to check, they'd have noticed their entire building's ownership had been shifting gradually over the past year." "Speaking of Dad," Miranda continued, checking her reflection in the polished walls, "he wants the new lease proposal on his desk by lunch. Though why he trusts you with anything important is beyond me." My phone buzzed, a message from my real office, confirming tomorrow's transition. "I'll have everything ready," I said quietly. "Good. Now use the proper entrance. We have clients coming in and I can't have them seeing support staff mixing with executives." As she strutted toward the main elevators, I turned toward the service entrance, hiding my smile. In exactly 24 hours, they'd learn who really owned the proper entrance. The service corridor was busy with maintenance staff, all of whom worked for my company, though my family didn't know that yet. They nodded respectfully as I passed, careful to maintain our shared secret. "Miss Chen," my actual executive assistant whispered, falling into step beside me. "The new lease terms are ready for distribution tomorrow. Would you like to review them?" I entered my small IT office, a perfect cover for running my real operations. "Let's see them." She handed me a tablet displaying the new terms. The rent increases were significant, especially for Harrison and Associates. Not out of spite, but simply adjusting to market rates. Dad's favorite phrase when dealing with his own tenants. "Also," she added, "your father's secretary has been trying to reach you about the current lease renewal." I smiled, remembering Dad's patronizing lecture last week about how I should be grateful for my simple position. Let him wait. Tomorrow's announcement will answer all his questions. My phone buzzed again with updates. New security teams in place, management transition ready, press release prepared. In 24 hours, the Harrison building would officially belong to Chen Innovations, and my family would learn that their support staff daughter owned not just their building, but half the financial district. I logged into my simple workstation, which concealed access to my real corporate empire. Sometimes the best power plays happen in silence, and tomorrow's revelation would be worth every moment of swallowing their condescension. "By the way," my assistant mentioned before leaving, "your sister just sent a company-wide memo about proper elevator usage for support staff." I glanced at the security feed showing Miranda holding court in the executive elevator. Perfect timing. Tomorrow's announcement will be going out in those same elevators. At precisely noon, Miranda's voice crackled over my office intercom. "Alexandra, Daddy needs you in the conference room. Try to look somewhat professional. We have senior partners present." I straightened my deliberately modest suit, a bespoke brioni that cost more than Miranda's entire wardrobe, though its subtle elegance masked its value. On my way, the service elevator opened to the executive floor, where Miranda stood waiting, arms crossed. "Really? You couldn't even put on decent clothes for this meeting?" If she only knew the watch on my wrist could buy her condo. The conference room was filled with Harrison and Associates power players. Dad sat at the head of the table, reading glasses perched on his nose as he reviewed what he thought was the new lease proposal. "Ah, Alexandra," he said without looking up. The lease terms seem unusually high. Did you make a typing error? No error, I replied, taking a seat in the back corner where they always placed me. Those are the new market rates. Miranda laughed, a sharp sound like breaking glass. Please. As if you'd know anything about real estate values. Just fix the numbers before the actual building management sees them. I checked my phone discreetly. Another message from my real office. Press release approved. All major business networks standing by for tomorrow's announcement. Actually, I said quietly, I've done extensive research on current market rates. Dad removed his glasses, fixing me with that familiar condescending stare. Sweetheart, leave the real business to those of us who understand it. Just correct the document and bring it back. The senior partners chuckled. The same men who'd dismissed my business plan 3 years ago when I tried to get their investment. Speaking of business, Miranda added, why are you sitting at the partners' table? Support staff should wait in the IT corner. My phone buzzed again. Building signage change scheduled for 9 a.m. tomorrow. Of course, I said, moving to the corner desk they designated for support staff. The same corner where I'd quietly orchestrated the purchase of their building, along with 10 others in the financial district. How then, Dad continued, addressing the partners, about the lease renewal. I'm sure we can negotiate favorable terms. After all, we're the building's most prestigious tenants. If he only knew that tomorrow's headlines would read, Tech mogul Chen reveals $2.1 billion real estate empire, Harrison building purchase finalizes power play. Alexandra, Miranda snapped her fingers, coffee for the partners. And use the good cups, not that you'd know the difference. I stood hiding my smile. In less than 24 hours, they'd learn the difference between ownership and tenancy, between appearance and power. Oh, and Alexandra? Dad called as I reached the door. While you're at it, review the building's service staff protocols. Some of them have been using the main entrance again. I'll look into it immediately, I replied, thinking of the new building protocols that would be implemented tomorrow, starting with the removal of discriminatory entrance policies. Back in my modest office, I reviewed the final preparations. New security teams were in place, management transition was ready, and the press release would hit every major network at 9 a.m. sharp. My real assistant sent another update. Your father's firm just submitted their lease renewal application. Shall we prepare the rejection letter? I smiled, remembering all the times they'd made me use the service entrance, all the coffee runs, all the dismissive comments about my simple job. No rejection needed, I replied. Tomorrow's announcement will speak for itself. Sometimes the best response to discrimination isn't a rejection letter. It's a change in building ownership and a complete reversal of power. Looking out my small window at the empire they couldn't see, I checked the time. 18 hours until they learned that the support staff they'd dismissed owned not just their building but their financial future. The service elevator dinged again. Time to deliver their coffee for the last time. I sat in the hidden executive suite at the top of the Harrison building, a floor my family didn't even know existed. Through the one-way glass walls, I watched the morning unfold in the lobby below. Miranda arrived first, her designer heels clicking against marble as she berated a maintenance worker for daring to use the main entrance. Dad followed, deep in conversation with the senior partners about their lease renewal. My phone lit up. New building ownership announcement deploying to all screens. Every digital display in the building flickered simultaneously, from the massive lobby screens to the elevator panels. The Harrison and Associates logo disappeared, replaced by the Chen Innovations emblem and a simple message. Welcome to Chen Tower. Under new management. Through the security feeds I watched chaos erupt. Miranda dropped her artisanal coffee. Dad's face turned ashen as his phone exploded with notifications about the breaking news. Tech billionaire Chen reveals real estate empire. Harrison building acquisition completes financial district takeover. Youngest property mogul emerges from shadows. The elevator doors opened and my actual executive team stepped out into the lobby, all wearing Chen Innovations badges. The security guards removed their old uniforms, revealing our company's insignia underneath. What is the meaning of this? Dad demanded, watching his firm's name being removed from the directory. My sister's shrill voice carried through the lobby. Someone call building management immediately. Management is already here, my CFO replied smoothly, handing them each a folder. Your new lease terms effective immediately. Ms. Chen requests your presence in the executive suite. Chen. Miranda scoffed. Our IT girl? What does she have to do with this? The elevator opened again, this time revealing Marco, now in a chief of security uniform. Please follow me to Ms. Chen's office. This is ridiculous, Dad sputtered. We don't take orders from support staff. Actually, Marco smiled, you do now. They were escorted into the private elevator, the one they never knew existed, and brought to my real office. Their faces drained of color as they took in the sprawling space, the wall of screens showing my property portfolio and me seated behind a desk worth more than their annual bonuses. Welcome to my building, I said quietly, no longer playing the role of humble IT support. Or should I say buildings? The Harrison building is just one of 15 I own in this district. Miranda's designer bag slipped from her shoulder. This is impossible. You're just IT. I'm the CEO of Chen Innovations, I corrected her, standing to reveal my full power suit, the kind of bespoke creation that made her designer labels look like department store finds. The IT position was simply convenient cover while I acquired your building. Dad stepped forward, his face a mix of anger and dawning horror. You can't do this. We have a lease agreement. I corrected, pulling up their file on my screens. Your renewal was denied. As of today, Harrison and Associates needs to find new office space. Unless. I let the word hang in the air. Unless what? Miranda whispered. Unless you're willing to discuss new terms. Not just for the lease but for how this building treats all its employees. The security feeds showed their staff gathering in the lobby, watching the new Chen Innovation signs being installed. Years of hierarchy and discrimination were being dismantled with each new announcement. You planned this, Dad said, realization finally hitting him. All those coffee runs, the service entrance. I wanted to experience firsthand how you treated support staff, I confirmed. It was quite educational. Miranda sank into a chair, her perfect poise crumbling. Our names are on the building. I corrected. Change isn't always comfortable, is it? Especially when you're on the other side of the power dynamic. The screens behind me showed live feeds of news coverage, social media reactions, and the real-time transformation of what was now my building. Their world wasn't just changing, it had already changed. They just hadn't known it until now. So, I said, opening their new lease agreement, shall we discuss those terms? 3 months after the Harrison building revelation, I stood watching the sunset from my executive suite. The building's transformation was more than physical. It was cultural. The once segregated entrances now welcomed everyone equally. The former executive-only spaces had become collaborative areas where all employees mixed freely. And most surprisingly, my family had undergone their own metamorphosis. A knock at my door revealed Miranda, dressed in a simple but elegant suit, her previous flashy accessories notably absent. The employee wellness program numbers are in, she said, setting down her laptop. After a humbling month of working her way up from an entry-level position, she'd found her true calling in corporate social responsibility. Show me, I said, pointing to the chair where she'd once sat in shock. Workplace satisfaction is up 87%, Miranda reported. Removing hierarchy improved productivity. Respect works better than fear. Dad walked in with reports from the ethics committee I'd assigned him. The fall from managing partner had humbled him. Our pro bono program helped 20 small businesses this quarter, he said. I studied them both. Gone were the labels and pride. In their place, purpose. There's more, Miranda said. Remember Maria, the cleaning supervisor I mistreated? She's now in our education program. Top of her class. I'm mentoring her, but honestly she's teaching me. Dad added, the partners approved new ethics rules. No more separate doors. No discrimination. The screens showed a new workplace. Open spaces, daycare, education centers. The anniversary event is next week, I reminded them. I remember that day, Miranda whispered, when everything we thought was true collapsed. Dad glanced at the glowing sign outside. Chen Innovations. Losing our name taught us humility. And what did you learn? I asked. Miranda answered, true worth isn't in clothes or entrances. It's in what you build, people futures. Power means empowering others, Dad said. Every worker walking through the front door proves it. The elevator dinged. Maria entered in a suit holding presentation files. Miss Chen, she smiled, then turned to my family. The community report is ready. Miranda stood and greeted her as an equal. Let's work on it together. When they left, Dad lingered. I never apologized for how we treated you. It's not about apologies, I said. It's about change. He nodded. The building feels better now. Maybe losing our name gave us humanity. I looked out at employees leaving through the same doors. No hierarchy, no divide. The old Harrison and Associates sign sat in a museum, a relic of arrogance. The board meets tomorrow, I told him. You're both on the responsibility committee. If you're interested. Dad smiled, genuine this time. We'd be honored. And we'll take the same elevator as everyone else. As night fell, the building glowed with new purpose. The service door was just another door. And my family, once blind with pride, had become partners in real change.